Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Uncultured Universe. We are the podcast where two friends show each other movies, shows, and anything else that they need to see, hear, or experience in order to get a little more cultured. I'm your host, Joe, and I'm joined as always by the uncultured Justin.
Hey.
Today we will be dodging bullets, donning our habits, and going boogie-woogie on the piano. We're talking 1992 Sister Act.
Man, this movie was fun. It is such a 90s, 80s movie capsule.
This movie is pure comfort food to me. I could just throw it on, watch any amount of it, any clip, and there's always something to gather. Justin, so I picked Sister Act as my movie for Pride Month of all months.
Of all months. Of all months.
We'll talk about it. What did you know about Sister Act going into it?
I knew very little, honestly.
Really?
Yeah. It was, it's part of the zeitgeist, everyone knows like what this movie is and what this movie can be, but like I'd never seen it. I never took the time to sit down. I kind of knew that it was like just Whoopi doing Whoopi things because she was so hot in the 80s and 90s. And it's just a good time. But I was really curious, like, how does she get into the convent? How does she, like, what's the reasoning why? And I was very surprised by it. That she's witness to a murder.
Yeah, did you know this is going to be a crime comedy musical film?
No, I didn't know. I honestly couldn't like pinpoint like how is she going to get from point A to point B of like being lounge singer to in the nun house. But
this movie is tight and efficient plot wise. And I love it for that. Are you showing the whole movie on the screen right now?
Yeah.
What's happening?
Yeah, we're going to watch the movie concurrently while we talk about it.
We're watching.
But there's no sound. There's no sound. It's just, so that way copyright can't ding us. It's just there in the back.
I'm pretty sure they can still ding us for the visuals of it, but we'll see.
But we're in here too, so it's fine.
Mm-hmm. Totally. Well, let me give you some stats on Sister Act. Directed by Emile Ardolino, starring, of course, Whoopi Goldberg, as we're seeing on the screen right now, Maggie Smith, Kathy Najimy, Wendy Makkena, Mary Wicks, Bill Nunn, and Harvey Keitel. Released in May of 1992, so you were a spry 20 years old at that point.
I was but 20. I was 5.
You were 5. Okay.
5.
Okay. This movie made $231 million against a $31 million budget.
That is wild.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Wild that it cost that much, but I guess they have like a lot of like big city scenes. But yeah, this one was a hit. And I don't think they were completely sure that it was going to be a hit, but it was. And the sequel came like, it was one of those things where like they made the sequel basically in like less than a year.
Gotta have it. Yeah. They could tell the writing was on the wall of like, this movie's going to make buku bucks for us. Fast track that sequel.
Leaving money on the table.
That's
you don't get that one going.
That's not how we do it.
Yeah. So
no, Joe. They're leaving money in the collection plate. They're not doing that.
They're leaving money in the collection plate, which is classically something you're supposed to take money out of.
Right. You look in there and you're like, that's a lot of 20s. I don't think Father Parrish is going to miss one of these 20s.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, there's surely some opportunity to, they really just do like pass that plate up and down and you can just do whatever with it. Although the ushers they're eyeballing you the whole time.
They are like staring daggers into any nonconformist. I love it.
What is, remind me, what is your background church-wise? Because that's going to be a key part of this conversation here.
So I grew up, I remember like mostly in like a non-denominational church. I think I went to a non-denominational like pre-K kind of thing. I remember the toys being really bad. There was so many nativity scenes and things made of carved wood and like scratchy fabric. I was like, these toys are terrible.
Yeah, lots of wood and felt is huge in the church.
Big time. And I was just like, this isn't for me. But so canonically, I'm half Hispanic. So with that, I remember I was baptized in the non-denominational church, but spent some time in the Catholic Church as well when we lived in South Texas for a time.
Yeah.
Um, we lived right next door to my grandmother's house, my mom's mom. Big time into the Catholic, lots of crucifixes around the house, as per usual.
Lots of ritual.
Yeah, yeah. The rosaries and the things, and like across the street was the church that they went to, and
Oh wow.
yeah. So I remember doing midnight mass on Christmas time, and that ruining Christmas. Just I was like, I have to stay up late, and I can't open presents. This is the worst.
I had to serve at midnight mass. Did you ever do like altar serving and stuff? Yeah.
Serve just
Serve.
I never had to do that. I never partook in the services, the servicing, during the service, whatever. I was just an unwilling participant.
Yeah, I got to hold candles and walk around with candles that were on like actual fire and stuff, and just manage that.
Oh wow.
It was kind of like a pyrotechnic moment every week.
But I've never seen a real life nun in my entire life.
Yeah, they're more scarce than you think they might be. They're definitely more in cities, and there's like definitely different types in terms of like how cloistered they are versus not. So there's nuns that are like basically live in the building and only the building, and they're kind of like behind a wall the whole time. You don't interact with them at all. And then there's Carmelite nuns like the ones in the movie Sister Act that are a little bit more open, a little bit more out in the community, as these nuns eventually do.
Yeah.
But as we're seeing, this is a movie that starts with Whoopi Goldberg as a lounge singer who,
in Reno, Nevada,
like so many folks of her generation, probably grew up with nuns as teachers, and that kind of shaped her desperate escape from the direction of the church into the life of sin and craziness that is Reno, Nevada.
Yeah, like what a choice. I imagine like on paper they were like, oh, like she's a lounge singer at a casino in Las Vegas. And they're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. You want us to shoot on location in Las Vegas? Absolutely not.
Reno, baby. This is the classic Reno movie.
This is Las Vegas light.
I do love the tiny bits of comedy in the opening number that they do at the lounge singer, where like it's about 5 seconds of her trying to get the mic off the stand.
Oh,
she's like struggling with it.
Physical comedy on Whoopi's part throughout this movie is fantastic. Her face acting, that was one note that I had, is like she's really selling it. The subtle nuances, and I think that is a lost comedic art.
Yeah.
It's just a delight. She's a delight to watch.
Yeah. I mean, we'll get more into the plot, but like one of my main notes on this one is just like how easily Whoopi Goldberg is like the center of this movie, just holding it. Like just bringing the audience along with such like comfort. Like there's such like an ease of presence to her acting in this. And I was thinking like having her and someone like Robin Williams just like banging out movies in the 90s around the same time.
Oh, yeah.
Like what a time.
It was a great time to be alive, Joe. You missed out a lot.
And going from 5 years to like Mrs. Doubtfire, like wow.
I know. Yeah, you get to watch like Ghost in 1991, this in 1992, the follow-up, the sequel in 1993, and then you also get Jurassic Park, and then you can do Independence Day. Like the early 90s were like chock full of prime cinema. And this is a good case for it. Like you said, this movie has a tight plot, It is very simple, and you get straightforward into it. I think we're like almost 10 minutes into the movie, and we're about to hit the the starting gun of what moves the plot along, which is great. You love to
It
see it.
it blends themes together so well too. Like we're in the opening 10 minutes or so of the movie, and basically someone's about to get straight up murdered with a gun.
Did not see that
And
coming.
that happens in kind of the first act, puts her in witness protection program. We end up at the nunnery, the church, where she's placed, and then immediately it becomes a whole other movie where you're growing with and these like new relationships between her and the nuns and caring about that side of things, and it becomes kind of a musical comedy before sandwiching itself again at the end with like
Oh yeah.
escape rescue caper action bit towards the end. And it shouldn't work, but the ups and downs of that are not very jarring to me because it is Whoopi kind of taking you through that the entire time.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it like you said, she's got this homey, down to earth, nostalgic feeling to her that just feels like a cozy cottage. And I don't know what it is exactly. It is a je ne sais quoi that she's got. She's got that magic stuff. Her line delivery, I don't know, it could just be, I don't know, her soft features, the way the timbre of her voice. It's a number of things, but anytime she's on screen, she is enigmatic and charismatic.
No one, no one out there is like her. What's your Whoopi Goldberg history? Where you think Whoopi Goldberg?
Probably spent the most time consuming the Page Master as
Oh my god, I was thinking the Page Master too.
yeah. But
Which is not one of her well known ones.
no. But it's you know what, Joe? It's well known in here. When I hear her voice, I see her as that weird little book.
Yeah.
But other than that, like, and I think we talked about this, my very first movie theater experience was seeing the movie Ghost with my mom when I was 4. That movie is not for 4-year-olds. And, but I also think of her in that role. She's fantastic in that movie. So those are probably the two that I like immediately jump to and probably have consumed the most times.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
of her.
Sister Act was huge in my household. Sister Act 2, Back in the Habit, even bigger. We will be talking eventually about the sequel here. But this ties back into classic Murphy family VHS from the library culture. Because we didn't have like TV, so it was a lot of like go to the library. You can get 5 different VHSs each week. Everyone gets to pick out one because there were like 8 million of us kids. And so Sister Act was definitely one that was in common rotation there. And then Sister Act 2 was one that like my cousins always had. Did you ever like go to your cousin's house and there were like 3 to 5 movies that you just always watched all the time that you just only know as like cousin movies?
Cousin movies, yeah. Funny enough, Lion King is a cousin movie.
Yeah.
But also the soundtrack specifically. I remember when the soundtrack dropped, anytime we were driving back and forth, like during Thanksgiving or whatever, we would be listening to that. So I associate that with cousins. Other cousin movies.
Miss Congeniality, huge cousin movie for me, one that we've covered. Also The Mummy.
Yeah.
That and Sister Act 2. Those are like my big trio.
Big cousin energy, yeah, for sure. But yeah, like this is a fun scene here of like the cat and mouse chase, like showing off some of her like street smarts and ability to escape. And I'm just like, how are we gonna get her to the nunnery?
I loved the scene that was leading up to this that we just watched, where she's talking herself up into breaking out with Harvey Keitel, and she's kind of like on her way there, and it keeps going back to her listing out the different cities that she could make it in that aren't Reno. And it happens like 4 different times where she's just like, I could make it in New York. I've always wanted to go to Chicago.
Yeah, and then they cut back over. Harvey Keitel, and they cut back over, and she's like, "You know what, Miami? You know what? I could always do it in
Miami is
Miami."
the place for me. I've always wanted to go to LA.
That's such a good, funny bit. Like they really don't make movies like this. Like
They
anymore.
really don't. And like it's such a cop out just to say that, but that was my main thought coming out of this. I was like, God, this thing moves. We have been talking and we're already almost into like the main meat of it. Just watching it right now. Like the murder has already happened on the screen in front of us, and she's about to go into witness protection. It's been
It's not
15 minutes.
It's not, but it's not like really exactly witness protection. It's like they don't say those words.
It's like protection of, yeah, I mean she's a witness in like a court case, although
Yeah,
it's they tie it up really neatly where he's like, yeah, we're gonna get you one court date and then you'll be good to go. It's like,
you'll be set.
I don't think the courts work
That's
like
not how.
that.
Maybe they did in the '90s. But the thing that really stuck out to me with this at the end of this scene where he's like, "Don't worry, we're gonna take care of you. We're gonna put you up in a place, and the last place he'll look." And then it's like smash cut to San Francisco or whatever. And it's like, you moved her one state over, like maybe an hour and a half away. Like you couldn't have picked a like 2 states over. Like, come on. Like didn't even change time zones. Like that was the biggest like miss for me. Like they could have gone anywhere else, like East Coast, send her to the East Coast. And they're like, no, this is the easiest thing we can do.
You just got to think like this detective guy has contacts with the priest who works at the church, and he's just been like waiting for the opportunity to put someone in witness protection there. He's been thinking through it this whole time, like,
Yeah.
God, what a great bit that would be to hide someone in a nunnery.
This is gonna be hilarious.
And then he Whoopi storms in. This detective guy, Bill Nunn, he used to live in Atlanta. We would see him at the farmer's market.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. In like the 90s and early 2000s.
That's so fun.
Yeah.
Did he have the mustache? He seems like a guy that would always have the mustache, regardless of the role.
I don't remember because I was so young, but I do remember him. Do you remember seeing him in like the Raimi Spider-Mans? That's like the other big thing that he's in. He's like J. Jonah Jameson's like second in command in all of those movies. He's in all of the newspaper scenes.
Yeah. I mean, like, then it's the exact same kind of look that he has too. It is the mustache and it's like a schlubby suit kind of a thing. And it's the same thing. That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
Movies.
I love that. Movies are fun. And like actors are fun. This is great. As we're watching it back and talking about it, and you brought it up too, like this movie also feels like tonally, cinematically, and obviously like genre wise too, but it feels so related to Miss Congeniality. Mm-hmm. Like the same kind of police department kind of a thing.
It's very much like fish out of water, kind of undercover, making friends with the people you're undercover with.
Yeah, like these are spiritual sister movies.
There's guns at the start and towards the end. Yeah.
I love it. And that maybe that's why like I also like I really enjoyed this movie just because it felt familiar in that way too. And also this is just a really good damn movie.
What a stroke of genius to have Maggie Smith as the Mother Superior too. Like her one-liners in this are incredible. We're watching the scene right now where like I burst out laughing because I forget it's coming every single time, where he's like, you took a vow of charity or whatever to take in anyone in need, and she just goes, I lied.
Yeah. Man, my note right here at this note, I was just like, not Maggie Smith being racist. Oh, come on, get out of here. Don't disrespect the dame.
It is an interesting choice to put Whoopi Goldberg into this extremely white convent and have her be kind of inconspicuous there. But I guess the idea is like she should have just been inside the whole entire time and not creating a musical sensation that gets on TV.
Oh man, I had a big problem with that one too. But also like the depiction of like the shitty neighborhood outside is just like like I don't know, like it's a little dirty, and like the gutter punks are just like
Oh my god.
teenage riffraff, and it's
I
like it's
I
not a problem.
I love the look and style of like the teen kids in this, the urban city kids
Hmm.
who are so like suspicious of the nuns at first, and then the music draws them into the church, and then they teach the nuns to dance later, and they all look like the height of 90s just cool kid
Oh
fashion.
no, but
It's
but
fantastic.
no, Joe, they're supposed. These are the riffraff in the troublesome neighborhood that they're in.
They're dirty. They're Peter Pan Hook kids.
They
They're
are.
teenage mutant ninja. That's what they are. They're Ninja Turtle kids.
They're Ninja Turtle kids. They're part of Shredder's clan, of his gang across the country, because that's in New York, and this over here on the West Coast, causing trouble. They're tagging things, and they're maybe swiping sandwiches and candy bars. They're Bart Simpson.
My
Like,
God. Maggie Smith saying that people want to kill her. Anyone who's met her, I imagine.
so dark, wild stuff. I love their chemistry. It was such a smart choice putting Maggie Smith against Whoopi Goldberg, because they're so fun together.
Whoopi Goldberg always fits in movies in ways you'd never think Whoopi Goldberg fits in. Like she's coming off of an Oscar for Ghost, and you think of Ghost as like, oh, this supernatural romance bit, and then when they were writing that screenplay, they decided, yes, let's add in Whoopi Goldberg as this character that's going to blow everyone else out of the water, even though this is supposed to be like a romantic movie between Patrick Swayze and Demi Moore. Whoopi Goldberg is going to be the one that people walk out remember if you're just going to win the Oscar for this.
To be fair, that movie, every single person in Ghost is a fucking powerhouse. Patrick Swayze, Demi Moore, and lest we forget, well, fuck, I never remember his name.
Tony Goldwyn.
Tony Goldman.
Yeah. Yeah. I
So good. Like all four of them are just so engrossed in that role, and it feels so lived in. In this movie too, like it's mainly Whoopi and Maggie Smith for me that are like the standouts, but also surprisingly, and they quickly kind of pair them up and group them together. It's the main three,
I
Kathy Najimy and
it's Wendy Makkena and Mary Wicks. This is our second Mary Wicks, by the way, because so she plays the older nun, Sister Mary Lazarus. She also plays Aunt March in Little Women, the 90s version that we watched.
incredible. Our
If-
little cinematic universe grows by the movie, and it's incredible. It's great.
This is quickly becoming a Mary Wicks Stan podcast because I'm going to make you watch the second one of this, and she returns in that as well.
You know what? As soon as the credits started rolling, which we'll talk about later, because I loved that. I missed that in movies, but I was like, oh, I have to see the sequel now. I want to know how she gets back in the habit.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, should we just spoil it right now? Like, you're going to do your next movie, and then I'm immediately going to make you watch Sister Act 2 Back in the Habit. That is my next episode.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think it's high time we say fuck it and we come back and do all the sequels we've talked about over the years.
We have talked about doing that. It's going to be a big sequel wave incoming, just because so many of the movies we've covered have sequels of varying degrees. If we ever get the chance to cover Miss Congeniality 2, Armed and Fabulous, that's going to be an incredible episode.
Oh, it's coming. It's coming. Like the back half of 2025, which we're in, by the way, holy shit. The back half is going to be just rife with sequels and nostalgia, because that's the only thing grounding us to reality at the moment, unfortunately. What else did you have planned to talk about this episode, Joe?
Well, I mean, like you were saying about the nuns, I love the economy of it all. This movie, we were saying, is it's tight, it's very efficient in its screen time, and so you get immediately, like, you get the three kind of standout nuns, and they form a bit of a group, but then the other nuns in the choir each kind of have incredibly like recognizable character kind of faces, and you get a little bit of a taste of each of their personalities through each of the musical numbers that happen in the film.
Right.
I love that the movie does so much with so little time for each of them there, and it all kind of culminates with like them running around Reno, Nevada, and you get little moments with all of them as well.
Yeah, it's great. I was very surprised that we get the music, the big music number, the well, not the big one, but the change, the big one so soon.
Yeah.
Um, uh, because I honestly would have thought that that would have happened sooner, and Ryan thought the same thing too. She had seen this before, and she's like, I thought that was much later in the movie. I thought there was a lot more preamble and build up, but it was like, nope, she's there for like a day and a half, and then it's like Maggie Smith says, I'm going to put you in charge of music. And then the next day is the sermon that they practiced, and it rules.
Yeah, it's very much a classic, like, surprise, this is a musical moment in movies. And then there's three. So she joins the choir as part of this, like, witness protection moment. Maggie Smith basically has already had enough of her on day two, like you're saying, makes her join the choir. Sister Mary Lazarus is in charge, but the choir, like, sucks. They have this moment during one of the masses where they sing a version of Hail Holy Queen, and it's one of the things that's, like, always quoted in my family is the one nun singing Hail like a full second and a half too early compared to the other ones, just like saying Hail. And then Sister Alma, the deaf nun, on the piano.
Incredible.
It is incredible. And so you get this moment of, like, immediate bonding between all of them, where she has, like, a teaching moment in their first choir practice. She singles out Sister Mary Robert, the super shy novice. She's a novitiate or whatever. That's why she's not wearing, like, the full habit and stuff.
I was curious about that. Can you speak on that? Why does she get the exemption?
She's, like, nun in training. Yeah. Yeah, so she hasn't
Yeah.
she hasn't taken, like, the full vows and stuff yet, and so that's
How
why
many vows are there?
7.
Do they 7?
No, I have no idea.
It's like, did she only do half? Like, how do you get there? How long does that take?
No, she's doing, like, she's doing nun internship. She's doing
Yeah,
nun
a nun practicum. Yeah.
7-day trial.
Oh, this is before she does nun max, nun plus, Christ plus.
Subscribe to Christ Plus.
Christ Nun Max gets you 3 Hail Marys for free. Sign up now.
It's basically 3 perfect musical numbers spread across the film. So you obviously have the first Hail Holy Queen number, where she has taken over as leader of the choir, and they perform this, like, very beautiful, very traditional version of Hail Holy Queen. You think, oh, like, that's nice. This she got them to kind of harmonize and sing together finally. And then, of course, it's not over yet. They break it down, like, gospel and boogie woogie style into a version of Hail Holy Queen that is a lot more modern. That, again, it's so it's so fun when, like, it shows the people outside just on this, like, crazy, dirty hellscape of a street outside of this church, being like, wow, they sound amazing. And then people start, like, flocking to the church while they're singing, literally filling out this completely rundown building via the power of song. And so at that point, it kind of becomes this revolutionary bit where Maggie Smith is completely against it. She's more for traditional values. It's very much a Pitch Perfect style script in that way. And Sister Mary Clarence, the Whoopi Goldberg character, basically pairs it together with, like, getting the nuns out into the community as a way of basically breaking them out of their traditional styles, not just in music, but in literally breaking them out of this building.
Yeah, which is great.
And then you get the fun little kind of throwaway number in the middle, the My God number, which is fun.
So fun. But yeah, the first breakout role, not breakout role, but the breakout big number, with the Hail His Holy Taxi is so good. It's that feeling, and I just had to look it up, that where you get, like, the aesthetic chills and psychogenic shivers when you hear and feel something, which is, again, Joe, we've talked about this before. That makes us weird. That is not neurotypical. You get the chills when you hear and feel something so overwhelming due to outside stimuli. And I got that from that scene. It was just like, I'm to the point of tears. This is so wonderful and great.
They hit some notes and you're like, oh, and then you get Kathy Najimy, the high note nun character hitting some stuff, and then obviously Sister Mary Robert is kind of like her breakout protege who gets like the little solo.
That's the part that does it, because you get the previous scenes where she's like getting her out of her shell and like learning how to sing more from her diaphragm and feel more confident, and then she gets her moment.
Mhm.
It's so rewarding and it feels so good and it's chill inducing. I love it.
Yeah, I think it was the what is the maybe Little Shop of Horrors episode where we talked about that, where I had the same sort of thoughts around the Skid Row number.
Yes.
Like was not expecting it at all. And then I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
I think it has something to do with the way that the music is arranged. Because she's like taking like a higher melody part, a counter melody, while the main chorus and stuff is kind of like playing like down, but she's going up. And then there's something that's happening there in the congruence of those notes. And it just, it fucking hits.
I think we're just suckers for like a 3-part harmony. I think that's all this is right now.
Oh, man. 100s. You know it. You know what? Speaking of 3-part harmonies, like I'd love that little music theory bit where she's handed the reins.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, okay, I'm up to the challenge. We can do this. And she's like, all right, deaf nun, give me the A and the altos and the sopranos and all.
Again,
so cool.
It's just like economy of screen time. Each of these scenes has to like move the plot forward. They do so perfectly using just like the most natural kind of seamless transitions. Like, how do you write the scene where she has to be introduced to the choir and 3 minutes later take over as leader of the choir, and 2 minutes after that they're performing their first song? Like, how do you make that happen? And they seamlessly kind of take you through this moment where she has a little bit of like a learning moment with the choir. She teaches them how to harmonize on one single note. She has the one-on-one moment with the younger nun, and then that all kind of culminates in this their first performance, which then kind of like dominoes again into like her eventually clashing more and more with Maggie Smith's character, but also it becomes like, oh, whose side are the nuns on now? Because now they're a part of it. And so it's like, who is winning like their loyalty more and more? Yeah. And then that builds into the second musical number where I love that the My God number highlights, gives them each like a little bit of a line to sing.
Yeah. And that's where you get some, like we talked about, like some of like the personality, some of the other nuns, because Ryan mentioned this, is just like, it's such a character choice to like give them each like different vocal, like, not stems, but just like distinctions of, like you get some like the various accents, and it's so much fun to play with.
It's such a nun thing too. Like I don't know any other way to say that. It's like these
it's so nuns.
crazy looking women who come from all like walks of life and stuff. And they've been doing this for 100 years. They've been in this convent, they're all so old, but they all have these like rich like lives and personalities, despite their lives seeming so like small and simple in this case. And like that kind of weirdly tied into like my little main course thought on this movie. The reason I had this as my pick for Pride Month is like there is something queer that kind of like draws queer people to it about this movie. Like I've talked to a lot of like gay people who like they always like look back fondly on Sister Act and Sister Act 2 as like these moments, because like you have a lot of queer people coming out of Catholicism, and this movie is very much about like bringing that religious world but then clashing it up against like the quote unquote modern world of the 90s. And it's about like taking a level of like, I mean, there's like an iconography and theatricality that is kind of inherent to Catholicism, despite how crazy and weird and strict and ritualistic it is. Like it can't help but be a little bit theatrical, and this movie plays with that in such a fun way.
Oh yeah, like it's a full on stage performance, and you think of like modern churches that are big these days with masses, where there's like lights and fog and
Mm.
pyrotechnics and multimedia, and then the priest comes flying in on a trapeze from the rafters, and he's like, guess who else flew in from the rafters? And he grabs a guitar and is like, little guy called Jesus Christ. 2, 3, 4, and it's
Uh,
insane.
I I cannot imagine this movie in a mega church. There's something like so weirdly nostalgic about the look of this movie too, like coming from Catholicism. Like you mentioned, like, the wood of it all. There's like a
Oh yeah.
dustiness to the church in this movie. Like I know what this place smells like. If that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense.
Oh yeah.
Like I I can't help it. I love a good big cathedral like this.
Mm-hmm.
This movie definitely recognizes like the acoustic qualities therein.
Oh yeah.
Uh and just like the whole idea of like uh a rectory, like this scene that they're in right now.
Mm-hmm.
There's whole entire worlds to be explored there.
Yeah.
Um
It just looks like the workroom on Drag Race, or the room in from like Top Model or Project Runway. It's just sewing machines and spools of thread for days.
like making rosaries.
Yeah,
Uh
that's all they're doing.
it's a simple life.
It is. But yeah, like the visual quality is so quintessentially 90s. It's that warm tones. And of course the setting, like you're saying, like definitely plays into it, of like a cathedral is all the solid wooden pews and the grand ceilings and everything. It just plays so well to like that warm film uh film style. And then you juxtapose it with like the cold, rough exterior of the city
Yeah.
with graffiti, and it feels so grimy, but it's really not that bad out there.
I mean, yeah, like it's kind of on the nose, but like you could see how like Mary Clarence coming to the convent, like the the reawakening of the spirit that she brings to it also comes with like, oh, they're literally going to fix this building and this roof and like clean up the street a little bit too,
Mhm.
which becomes such a big part of it.
Yeah, like they cleaned up their act. They cleaned up the streets, and the best way possible. And that was a fun little additive piece that I didn't expect either, of just like, oh, she's not just there to make herself better or do self-reflection or whatever, but she's also like impacting the community and impacting others, by getting them out of their shell and helping them learn to be better performers and better people. And it's a good feeling. This is a good feel movie.
It's a good feel movie. Um, I like that it also culminates in the Pope visit, which is like the single most unbelievable part of this entire movie, that the Pope would randomly decide to visit this church for a performance, and that the it wouldn't be like packed with paparazzi and people outside of that church at the end, even though there are quite a few people in there. They're all like very chill and all looking forward. That church would be an insane madhouse if that happened in real
The
life.
church would be Woodstock 1999 in there. It would be insane. And he would have a mini Pope mobile up there. It would be shrouded in bulletproof glass because it's the Pope. Like you don't just bring the Pope to San Francisco on a whim.
Apparently there was an actor working in like the 80s and 90s who plays the Pope in this. He was just like known for just playing the Pope in various movies because he
That's
looked
amazing.
so much like Pope John Paul II. And like that's how you make your living.
Is that who this is? Is that who this Pope is supposed to be? It's supposed to be Pope JP? Oh, it's amazing.
At the time.
At first we were thinking like, oh, they're not going to show his face, so that way it can be like any pope. This movie could take place at any point in the 90s. It could be any damn pope that you want.
No.
uh
Very much iconic silhouette in that way.
oh yeah, that's right. But you speak of unbelievable parts of this movie. The sure, that one is pretty egregious, of like everyone's being so chill and there wouldn't be like snipers on every rooftop and lockdown.
a simple
Getting
time.
getting 40 nuns into one helicopter?
Again,
Unbelievable. Cannot.
an incredible scene. Okay, so we're kind of moving forward a little bit here, but Harvey Keitel realizes that Whoopi Goldberg is hiding out in the nunnery, goes and kidnaps her. And so Maggie Smith and the nuns go and try to rescue her. They have to figure out, again, you have to figure out, how do we get these nuns from San Francisco to Reno? One scene where they guilt trip a helicopter guy with like the threat of hell, basically.
Hardcore. Like, man.
It's incredible. Maggie Smith is so good. And like I love the scenes that she and Whoopi have where Whoopi is like they're like slowly becoming friends, and she's like, "You're a formidable woman." It's part of this, and you could tell it's like, yes, she has this like worldly quality about her despite being this like cloistered nun. And she has like a level of street smarts that she reveals over the course of the movie when they get to Reno, and she's like, all right, spread out, blend in, let's do this.
Oh yeah, like I want the prequel of Maggie Smith's character.
Sister Act origins, yes.
Oh, yes. Oh, that would be so good.
There's so many little moments in this movie, like when they realize the Pope is coming, and they're like, oh wait, it's one of the moments when they're all like celebrating, and the nuns are like, oh, it's better than springtime, it's better than ice cream, whatever, and Whoopi's like, it's better than sex.
And then or so I've heard. So funny. That's hilarious. Yeah, I love those little in jokes of her like being the outsider, kind of like barely keeping it together, keeping her guys up. Very, very fun.
It's classic. It really is like Miss Congeniality in so many ways that I haven't realized. I can't stop thinking about that now that you've said that, because it is like she's showing up in this world kind of fish out of water, but it's her who teaches them, how to really live life and how to have a good time.
And she was totally going to sacrifice herself for the other nuns, like the friends that she made along the way towards the bad guy at the end.
It's really sweet.
It's really sweet. You love to see it. I love this scene where she sneaks out to go to the bar across the street. It's insane. Like, she knows what she looks like. She should know the kind of... Don't they have changes of clothes? Like, couldn't she, like, outfit it to look like anything else?
Just more and more nuns coming into this biker bar, and everyone just getting more and more flabbergasted.
Yeah. Yeah, I love the record scratch moment of everyone just like, holy shit, it's a nun. Like, incredible. But also, like, it's quintessential 90s biker bar. Like, it looks the same as the bar that you see in, which we haven't watched yet. We'll come back to it. But Pee-wee's Big Adventure, Terminator,
yeah.
Terminator, like, it's the same bar.
And there's like one Hollywood bar they use for all of these.
Oh, yeah. It's like, oh, we're shooting a bar scene. Take it up to Lloyd's, boys. Heading up there. And then, I was surprised. She orders a Coke at the bar. I was waiting for, she was going to line up shots and do it.
She is in a habit.
Yeah. But man, those were the days in the 90s where you could order a soda at the bar and it's free.
Fantastic. I mean, Justin, my ultimate thoughts on this movie is I can sink in and out of this movie at any time. It's just such a good time for me, regardless. It's such a breath of nostalgia, and any scene is like a little masterclass in moving the plot forward in a way that is both funny and heartfelt. And ultimately, like, I had a note. This is a movie about women acting and slaying, and the gays are going to show up for that no matter what. And so that is my contribution to Pride Month this month for Sister Act. What are your kind of closing thoughts here as your first time watching Sister Act? What are you taking away from it?
I'm definitely like digging into the hominess of it, and like, truth be told, I have been living in my feels of nostalgia lately. And of course it's a trauma response. It is.
Of course. Happy Pride.
Happy Pride, y'all. Like, I've been playing Mario 64 yearning for simpler times. And I think part of it too, this is a slight tangent, but I swear it ties back.
Please.
Um, of like, I'm watching my kid grow up and experiencing things that like on the verge of like things that I remember when I was that age. And it's so fun, also sad at the same time to like have to do that in my brain together. So and then of course just the state of the world and the economy of it all, where I'm just like, oh, I need to retreat back to where anxiety and fears weren't so high. Where do I go? I go straight to the 90s. The video games, the soundtracks, the sounds, the TV shows, the movies and things like that. So this is like this movie was so like perfectly timed to like fit in with that journey that I'm on, question mark, of just like, oh, this, because like we talked about, this feels like those other movies we've watched before. This feels like other movies I grew up watching. And I don't know, it was, a true surprise all in all. And because, I had no idea of like how she got from point A to point B, but it was just so seamless.
Yeah.
It felt so right. It felt like such a 90s. The sounds, I missed the sound of a 90s gun going off. It's the same sound the same Foley.
So much smoke in this.
I love this scene. I leaned over to Ryan and then I was like, whenever there's trouble, why is it always you three?
That's what I said. So I was like, it's literally reenacting Harry Potter in this.
It's great. I know. They had to have known Christopher Columbus when they were making that movie. They're like, oh, we gotta do Sister Act. Are we doing the Sister Act right now? Hell yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely a comfortable dose of nostalgia. It's fun to think like, yeah, we are in total hell times right now, but I'm excited to think about like what your kid, what the kids in my family are going to look back on themselves as like their little nostalgia moment. Like what's the media that they're going to be consuming that's going to be like their 90s in a 2020s world.
Yeah, yeah. Like I forget where I heard it, but there's kind of like it's not a danger or a slippery slope or anything like that, but us as millennial parents and things like that, of like we're living so much in our own nostalgia and we're trying to share it with our kids.
We got to give them new stuff.
You got to get them new stuff. You got to let them have their own moment. You can't,
Yeah.
or else that's not fair to them, and that's not cool. Like they got to discover things on their own.
I mean, the 80s and 90s are fun. But yeah, they gotta have their own culture. They gotta have their own moment. They gotta have their own things that they're quoting all the time.
Yeah.
Which I guess is Paw Patrol and Bluey right now. That's fine. But
we do not stand for.
You don't do Paw Patrol?
We don't do Paw Patrol. Yeah. No cops in this house. No cops in this. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. What's the main central thesis of this movie? What's the main themes and things that you take away from this, Joe?
We love a woman who slays. Ultimately, at the end of the day, I think the theme that I come to with this movie, it's very basic, but it's about like just the universality of music, and how there's immediate parallels with the movie strikes between like the music that she's singing at the beginning of the film as this lounge singer in Reno becomes the music that she sings with the nuns, albeit in like a kind of a more church friendly fashion. But if you listen, they're kind of singing the same songs. It's like these girl group songs from the 60s and stuff. And so it's about how like music as a way of as a device for connection and community and expression. It's used the same in Reno. It's used the same in the church, because it's about the individuals involved, not necessarily the setting.
Yeah, yeah. I picked up on that too. I was like, oh, okay, yeah. It feels the same era. The songs that she was singing at the beginning, and the songs that she's injecting into their performances. I loved that touch. And again, that was quintessentially 90s, right? Most of those, I think of like My Best Friend's Wedding, and there's a couple others like Four Weddings and a Funeral or whatever. But like those movies that like rely heavily on music from the 60s.
It's something they touch on in the sequel to this, where it's like we're talking about nostalgia for the 90s, where like she in this is nostalgic for these groups from the 60s, and that's where she loves like a lot of her gets a lot of her musical inspiration from.
Mm-hmm. It's so good. Um, but yeah, a thought that I had throughout the whole movie is like, man, you really, I would hate to see a remake of this, like a reboot,
Mhm.
because you couldn't do it. It would not feel the same.
It would look too clear. Does that make sense? There's a certain VHS like fuzziness to this movie that I think is crucial.
It's film grain. It's the film grain,
Yeah,
of film cameras, like, and it makes it feel lived in and that warmth that we talked about. Like you don't get that from digital cameras. You can fake it, but it looks fake as shit.
I think if you want a more modern version of this, I thought about School of Rock, which comes kind of like 10 or 15 years later, which is this sort of like taking this group of people and bringing the music out of them, but like
Right. Yeah.
filmed in its very own style, filmed in a much more modern style, much more like modern attitude.
Sure.
Um,
Yeah, you're right.
so it's
That's a good comparison.
yeah, you could like take inspiration in this way, but I don't ever want to see them remake Sister Act.
Like we looked it up. Like I was like, was there a third one that was going to be coming out soon or anything like that? And it's like, well, they were talking about it, but I think they tabled it. And then like Maggie Smith passed away, so they were just like, we're not gonna, we just can't.
Yeah.
And then
What
like, and then like, I'm glad like this one didn't fall victim to the classic tale of the 2020s where everything is a legacy sequel or a reboot or a hard reboot, or like I would have hated a 30-year legacy sequel to this.
Well, I think folks in the 90s also had weirdly like a better connection to nuns than folks today.
Oh,
Like if you made a movie about nuns, like people wouldn't really know what to do with that. You think about nuns and like there absolutely are nuns out there. There's people who join convents all the time still, but like you just don't they don't have as much of a presence in culture as they did
yeah,
in the 90s, because so many people then were like schooled by nuns in the 50s, 60s, 70s.
yeah.
And that's just not as much of a thing these days. So this really hit a moment for nuns that I think like struck well.
Yeah, nuns were big. Nuns were big in the 90s. They're not anymore. Most people, yeah, would think of like Halloween costume or something. Um, I mean, because like I imagine most people, I guess, like I said, I have never seen a real life nun in my entire life. So they're an enigma to me, you know.
Most nuns are cool. The ones that I've met, they're just kind of like doing their own thing. It's historically over the centuries a way for women to escape the craziness of society that is against them and kind of enter a slightly other type of crazy society.
Mm-hmm.
And it's probably an interesting conversation to see how that's evolved into the modern age. But
Yeah. Yeah, this movie is very yes, slay queen and anti-patriarchy. Like I fucking love it, dude. So like I would have I was thinking of just like the hilarity of modern cynical comedy of you do like typical sister act and then they spend a little bit more time in the sermon and it's just like, now let's talk about homosexuality and how they're all going to hell. And it's just they take the hard left turn of just like they're all gonna burn. And it's just,
I mean,
like that would be terrible.
one of my main questions here, like from a Catholic perspective, is like I don't know when during the mass they're actually singing these songs. There's not like a typical like music break that happens during like uh a Catholic service. It's kind of like during the priest's homily that they do it in this movie, but that's not really something that happens. It's extremely structured in the mass, so I don't really know when they would have time to actually sing these songs. But yes,
It,
it's nice that they do.
Is that is that like the third unbelievable part of this movie of just
That is. Yeah.
they wouldn't just be singing this song willy-nilly.
Yeah, they wouldn't. I mean, it maybe like before or after the mask, but like there's not like a music break within the mass itself.
Yeah. Another just quick side last thing was just the time frame of this movie, which is weird to me. It was just like, so her cop friend is like, hey, so I'm going to hide you in a convent for 2 months max, like until we can get a court date. 2 months is not a long time. And she calls him after like 2 days. She's like, I'm going crazy. You have no idea what it's like in here. And then it's like, and then like maybe a week later. Oh yeah, because she's seen one service.
Yeah.
And now this is like the second one. So she's been there a week and a day maybe. And then they have one or two other performances. So she's there barely 3 weeks.
The time frame is something that you do have to kind of suspend your disbelief on. There is almost like a montagey moment where it does show them singing other songs. It doesn't show the full songs themselves, and it shows like the church getting repaired, and it shows more and more people coming to church. And so it's implied that like they're doing more and more shows. And so I could believe it is like a couple months or so, but it is, I know exactly what you're saying. And like, I picked up on it this time. It is kind of like a flip where she's like literally on the phone with him one night saying, get me out of here. And then the next day he's like, okay, you can get out of here. And she's like, well, no, I'm already, I'm starting to get it everywhere.
I'm cooking over here, guy. Like, don't pull me out now.
It's because she gets like the musical fulfillment randomly out of this convent that she never had in Reno with her girl group. And it's fun how they do that musically. Like again, like the first musical number in the movie is them on stage at the Reno lounge as lounge singers, and it's funny to watch them, and they're kind of good, but like they're very much like forced a little bit, and they don't seem to be super comfortable or like inspired by what they're doing. And then a lot of the songs that they sing become these songs that the nuns are singing, like we're watching right now, and there's so much more like passion in it, and it culminates in like the final number of the movie that they sing for the Pope, where it's kind of like all perfect. She's got her hair down, and like they're all like so into it. It builds into this like perfect crescendo.
A thing I'm just now noticing while rewatching it right here too is the thing that also sells it is previous to this, anytime they were showing the nun singing, the camera is still.
Yeah.
It's motionless. So now when they're doing it this way, there's a lot of sweeping motions and energy to it.
Oh my God.
And the angles are so good.
I love the way the camera moves around basically in like a circle.
It's so perfect and wonderful. And then they keep cutting back to Maggie Smith, and it's a still shot again. But yeah, like you feel the energy, and she is not only like literally commanding the stage, but she is, she's so good and charismatic and like directing these ladies and singing so wonderfully, and like, oh, this is so damn good.
You just have to watch her. Just literally anything that she's doing on screen.
Mm-hmm.
I could watch and have a good time.
This is good.
So my final my final note was perfect movie. My note before that was Mary Roberts saying like, what, I'm so nervous about performing for the Pope, like what happens if I forget my lines? And then immediately Whoopi goes, you're gonna go straight to hell. So funny.
I love it. Yeah, look at that. This shot is so good.
It's sweeping. It's incredible. This is such a well-made little movie.
Who like, I want to know, and I mean, we won't have time to look it up now, but like the cinematography is fantastic, specifically in this scene, and in the other performance scenes too. But also like the music arranger who wrote that piece, someone had to write that.
Justin, I do have time to look it up right now because I have the page right here. You are not going to believe this. Cinematographer Adam Greenberg, known for his work on the first two Terminator movies, the second of which he got an Academy Award nomination for.
Amazing. Dude, he had a hot streak going.
Yeah. Yeah, what a time to be working in the movie biz.
They're like, we got him for cinematography. Like, this movie is going to be A-okay, you guys. Don't worry.
He's like, I'm seeing in a scene here that you need to shoot in a bar.
Yeah.
I have a contact.
I got the bar for you. Whoopi, sit down. This is great. You're going to have a good time.
So fun. All right, Justin, tell us a little bit about where we're going next episode.
Next episode, where we're going next, Joe, is what did I tell you last week? We are going to move in the direction.
Do you want me to tell you?
Tell me. I can't keep vamping.
So you wanted to watch Mighty Morphin Power Rangers?
Right, yeah, because I keep getting Mighty Morphin content on my on TikTok.
Give me a brief overview, because I know there's 8 million Power Rangers shows and movies. Where are we diving in?
I'm having to do a little bit of deep diving myself because the lore, Joe, the lore goes quite deep.
Yeah.
It's the 30-year anniversary of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie from 1995 that I remember going to see like the day it came out with me and my best friend at the time, and I was obsessed with Power Rangers, and I saw it so many times in theater. As soon as it came out on video, I got it. I had all the toys and the collectibles to make the Megazord, and I wanted my grandmother to make me a Halloween costume from scratch that Halloween, but she never did. So sad. But I fucking loved the Power Rangers growing up.
That must have been like releasing crack into the streets, like, like just setting the Power Rangers loose around among the American child population.
It was reckless. It was definitely reckless.
Incredible.
But they knew what they were doing. So we'll talk about that, the Power Rangers of it all, and the sweeping of the leg power that it had over the nation. Of kids playing karate ninja warrior, at recess.
I know much about the world adjacent to Power Rangers. I know the vague outlines of a lot of things. I never really watched any of the movies or shows, so I am excited to dive in here.
This is gonna be great
and figure out which Power Ranger each of us are.
Oh, yep, 100%. Everyone always did that, and the answer to mine may surprise you.
Oh my god!
So we'll come back to that, and then coming back around, we're gonna hit full circle into the back half of the year. It sounds like, and just go straight into sequel town.
Yeah,
and starting with Sister Act 2, and then we'll dovetail into Miss Congeniality 2, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, like all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, you're not ready for Sister Act 2.
I want to know, like, that was the main burning question I had, is like, how does she get back in the habit? And I can't wait to find out.
All right, y'all. Well, thank you for following along. That was Sister Act. Please go watch and have a good time if you want to beat this heat.
Yep, sing along and put your, donate to your local Catholic church if you can, I guess, if you're into that sort of thing. Otherwise, go Whoopi go. Catch us on all this social, on just the main social at Uncultured Universe, mainly on TikTok is where we're at.
Are we really?
Yeah.
Do we get a lot of hits on TikTok?
Yeah, we do, actually, surprisingly. And YouTube, Uncultured Universe. Check us out there, and we'll catch you guys later. Bye.
Bye.